Huh? No, no. This Friday night is next week Friday. Whole night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So if I want to come, like in the first 3 hours, I'll be doing any topics like you all do around 6 around 9. Right? But you gotta let me know in advance because they got class for. So I want to put in 9 No, you regular phone call physics on that Friday goes to the online. So you'll come or you'll love. That's just next week Friday. So it's real hard, but after that, I'm very online. All right. So I want to just redo what we did last week, right? You may or may not have done vectors before. I have to leave this here, right? So, right? So you may or may not have done some vectors before, right? So basically, here's what we did last week. We didn't do plenty last day, actually. If I gave you a point, I'm using numbers now. If I gave you a 0.21, right? We could turn that point into a vector. Really easy. That's a point, right? A vector must have what? Physics people. A vector must have what? Magnitude and direction. Right? Online, I'm just doing a quick review of what we did last week, right? So I have to give this magnitude and direction. So what you do to create a vector, you start from a reference point. So the reference point here using Joshua is O. So the vector I am drawing here for you is O, P. And to show it's a vector, I call it R1 dot. That's okay? And the way I write the vector, the point is written horizontally. The vector is written vertically. Right? But in AdMax, you write it, there's a next way to write it. Everything that's on the x-axis, we give it a direction I. Everything on the y-axis, we give it a direction J. So I and J tells you what direction it's in. So the way I'm going to write this is like this. What this tells me, this tells me 2 in the x direction, 1 in the y direction. That's all. So in AdMax, you write a vector like this. In normal maths, you write it like this. All right. What would happen if you change direction? If you change direction, all we have to do now is change the signs of everything in here. So it becomes minus 2i minus 1j. That's okay? That's all. So if you change from going with the arrow to against the arrow to a negative sign. Okay? So make sure you know that the negative sign indicates a change in direction. All right. That's now. Oh, there, right? That's now. Watch this here. Next thing, let's say I gave you this OA. Let's say I gave you OA is 2 minus 1, and I gave you OB is equal to 3, 2. I think scientific glitch a little bit. Before the CL lag in there, that's right. So I give some trouble Sunday. Right. So how do we add, subtract, and multiply vectors? So if I said OA plus OB, you write in 2 minus 1, you write in 3, 2, and you add in everything. Here's how easy it is. Add the x, add the y. Right? Add the x, so you'll get 2 plus 3, add the y. You'll get minus 1 plus 2. So your answer is 5, 1. Easy enough? That's the way add. How you think you would subtract? Yeah, how you think you would subtract? Same way. Right? 2 minus 3 minus 1 minus 2. That's it. Okay. Next, how do we multiply by a scalar? If I said 2OA, you're multiplying 2 by whatever OA is. Right? So you're multiplying 2 by whatever OA is. So it's 2 by 2. So So you're multiplying 2 by 2, that'll give you a 4. 2 by minus 1 minus. Okay? And last thing we did last week is this. How do I multiply OA by OB? Right? So multiply OA by OB. You write the vectors next to each other. Right? Multiply the x, multiply the y, and add the value. Multiply the x, multiply the y, and add the value. Multiply the x, multiply the y, add the value. That's it. So your answer is 6 minus 2, which is 4. Huh? Nope. Right? So I'm glad I like how you see that. This, whenever you multiply two vectors, we call it scalar product. Right? We call it a scalar product. That's the name of it. So you're not getting a vector anymore. What you get is a scalar. Okay? Right? I just want you to try two things for me. I want you to multiply 2 by OA and then add it to BO, to 3BO. Right? I want you to work out that for me. And then do the same thing. Take 2 OA and multiply it by 3BO. Right? Try these two for me. Right, take your time, try those two. And that's what we did last week. And we will start this one. Okay. Finish. Online, the guys any answer. Right done. Online, you can message your answer. Or you know how when their phone was. We will change the signs. So B will be minus 3 minus 2. Right? B will be minus 3 minus 2. All right, let's see what you got now. Right, help me out here, Vishish. Well, I'm glad you know, so you should be ready. Right? What is 2OA? Give me the answer one time. Right? So you're multiplying this by 2 and this by 2. Number one is 3B. In fact, number one is BO first. No, that's OB. What is BO? Yeah. So that's here. No. OP was 2, 1. PO negative sign. Say multiplying both of them by -1. So BO will be -3, -2. So it will be -9 and -4. I thought from now. Multiply by by 3. Sorry. Yeah. How much is this? How much is this? Nice. Right? That's very slow. Do this one from now. What is 2A again? Right here. 4 and -2. And what is 3BO? -9 and remember it's BO. So the sign change, right? Right. What do I do now to multiply two vectors? Right? So do that in your head, come on. -36 added to minus what? Just 12. How much is that? Nice. Okay? Right? That's the way you multiply two vectors. Okay? Sure. If you face the arrow to the left, it means A2. So it makes a difference. Yeah, so like if I face the arrow, instead of if I face my arrow O to A and I put the arrow the next way, then that'll be a different vector. Right? So what we just tried to do is to leave the arrow going left to right and change the letters on me. Okay? Right? Online, I didn't get any answers online. Just to all you know, Alyssa, you get us send your answers. Okay? Okay with us? Right, got it. Just have to redo a little rule, right? So I just pass them. Okay, name that my and I then yeah, then she got this advance and right. Just do one more real fast, because some of you got it wrong. Do one more before I move on, right? Try this, please. Try A to O, right? Let's do 2A to O and multiply it by OB. Let's do 4. Do that fast. Find the dot product and come on the board. And I get some ticks up there. Yeah, feel nature and feel demand. Between nature and stepper. Why? That's it. It a little toughness. Right done? Right, come on the board and do this fast now. Comments. Step 1 or later. Had a comments, so there's all chance to come on the board. No, I'm saving machines for later on. Yeah, not the board. Okay, you cover. You come later. Online, don't forget to send your answer, please. Send the last one. Okay, but don't forget to send them, right, Alyssa? And Alyssa. Oh, you going home already? You know what time that's my next. Right, one more step on. I'll fix it, yeah. I'll fix it. I won't record, Right? Although technically it'd be recorded. I wouldn't record it, I'm putting it. But again, we're using up 10,000 on some other kind. Can we hear what for over the weekend? Let me see what he did wrong. Are you fixing it?
So I do 8 Wednesdays.
Yeah, so yeah, change the sign somewhere, right? Right, a little bit. Online send your value. Nice, Alyssa. Now we receive it right. Arissa, send yours too. Right, wait, one little mistake there. You put OE.
Yeah, I probably
Right, so change the sign one time. Oh, yeah, what is a minus sign in front there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right. So if you put the minus sign here, it's looking like a 2 minuses. So put the minus sign here. So you multiply minus 2 by 1. Right? Wait, Arissa, Serena, you too. Send your answers. Being right, and I'll put you on. Right, that would minus 32. Good job. Okay, so now we now catch up, right? I didn't show you what a unit vector, so I want to show you that what a unit vector and how to find magnitude. I think I did show you how to find magnitude. That's last. And what will the name? All right. Head up unit vector. Let's take a look at how to find a unit vector. And I'll go over how to find magnitude, right? Right, to make a note of this. A unit vector is one that has a magnitude. A unit vector has a magnitude of 1. A unit vector, yeah, like I was say 1. Just put a unit vector has a magnitude of 1. a unit vector has a magnitude of 1. Right? It can be found by using the following formula. Right? Here's the formula. If I want you to get the unit vector of E, you could write E with a little hat on top of it. Right? That symbol means a unit vector. And the formula is this. Just write the vector E and divide it by its magnitude. Right? I know some of you all weren't here, so I'll show you how to find the magnitude. The magnitude is the square root of the x value squared plus the y value squared. That is the normal vector. I'm going to show you an example now. So it's like I'll give you a vector E here, the line on top. Line means vector as well. But if it have one letter, you're going to put the arrow. Kind of where else to go, right? So you could also write it like that. The one underneath means magnitude, right? The one underneath means magnitude. And she was online last week, Chris? No. Right? So watch here. Watch here, Nathan. How do we find the unit vector of E? Right? That little hat on top means unit vector. To find unit vector, all I have to do is to write this vector. You could write it like this, or you could write it like how I showed it before, 3, 4. Anyone could work, right? And you divide it by its magnitude. So the magnitude of this is 3 squared plus 4 squared. That's okay? X value squared plus Y value squared. That's it. Go in a calculator, work out that, and you should get 5. All right? So you can write it like this: 3/5 I plus 4/5 3. Right? Copy it down. Any questions online? Ready? Try this next one here, come on. Find a unit vector. Same thing, right? This is one. Try next one here, come on. The vector be 12i plus 5g. Good. Want to get issues? Huh? Well done. Yes, done. All got you? Yeah. Right. So what will this be? It will be 12i 12i plus 5j all over the square root of 12 squared plus 5 squared. And what you all got underneath? You all got 30, right? So you can write it like this. 12 on 13i plus 5 on 13j. Huh? Ready? Ready? What sign thing? Oh, yeah. All right. I do the wrong thing. Yeah, I did the little hearts. Right? Nice, thanks. Right, Olia. Chris, what's the magnitude of this again? What's the magnitude of this type of vector? What's the name of this vector? Huh? No. What type of vector is this? A unit vector. So what's the magnitude of this? Sure. Read the note fast. 1. Right? So the magnitude of this is 1. That's okay? So let's just check it and see. Let's just check the magnitude of B. Square root of 12 squared on 13 squared plus 5 on 13 squared. Checking the calculator. Come on, what you get? And that's not. It's something you do now. Because see, come on, sit down here. All right. Take your food. Yeah, what you all got? I'll get one. I'll get one. Every day have a Casio, right? Please don't use no sharp on thing again. Just make sure you have a Casio. What are you using? Try and get Casio, right? Try and get Casio. I'm gonna do a whole set of small videos and just how to use the Casio properly. Right? Right. Next. So I want to change it now into an ADMAR type question. Right? Write this down. Online, I want to get an answer, right? Right? Good job, Serena. And I didn't get any from you, right? So I want to make sure you send this one here from her. Given the unit vector, given the unit vector, C, given the unit vector C is equal to that, find the value of E. Given the unit vector C, 2I plus AJ, find the value of E. Right? But that's not make it value smaller. Sorry. That's not before you say it easy. That's now change it here. Right? So it is a unit vector. What do we know about a unit vector? The magnitude is 1. So try something up. They know the magnitude is 1. So what value for A or B is 1? Try it.
That'd be good if they had.
But I will show you. I want to show you how easy it is. You got now it's very close. Right? So I want to see what they will do. I want to see what they will do. Anything online? Yeah. But I'm on, you know what I do? One day, one day, then you weeks long. Go ahead up. Right, it has to do with the roots. So you recognize one of the problems that you have in ADMAS when you deal with a root. Right? So we gotta find a way to get rid of the roots. So watch this here. Right? So what do we know? We know that the unit vector, we know the modulus of C, sorry, the magnitude of C, that symbol is magnitude is 1. Right? How do you find magnitude? Magnitude is the square root of x value squared plus y value squared. And this equals to what? To 1. How do I get rid of a square root? Square both sides. So that's one of the things that I could have done there, square both sides. But the reason why yours may not have been able to get is because, right, and you leave the I and the J in it too. So all you have to do is get the X and the Y, right? So you reach right here. But your problem now is what you're going to do, right? How do we get rid of square roots? So you got to always remember, two things you do like. You do like fractions. So you just multiply by the denominators to get rid of the fraction, and you definitely do like square roots. So to get rid of a square root, one of the ways is just square both sides. Right? If I square this, now I'll end up with a half squared, which is a quarter, plus a squared is 1. That's okay? So I'll square out this, and I get 1 squared is 1. Square of a square root is this. I'm moving across a quarter, so I'll get a squared is 1 minus a quarter. A squared is 3/4. Then a is what? A is the square root of 3 and 4, which is root 3 and 2. Okay? That's it. Let's go again. Next one. Okay. What you do now, Serena, Alyssa, Anya, and I mean, you follow what to do? Okay, next one, let's try one more. So you know, add math questions, they will find a way to mix it up on it. And that's basically what it will do. Okay? They might do something like that. Right? So I want to give you one more like that before we go to something else, right? We'll try one more like that for now. I'm giving you our next vector, let me call him D. And I'm giving you a little harder, slightly harder to work with. 3/4 I. Find E. Find E. Same principle, right? Same principle. Try that fast. Which is behind. It has pass it to one time now. Jab this and jab it done. Okay. Go to this one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. All right. But I'm like, no, no, this one. Right, very good. Very good. Not bad at all. Okay. Follow no one eye. You're looking up. Follow and one sheet. Catch up myself. The reach here. Amen. Amen. Bishop. Right. Next thing we're going to look at is something called direction vectors. Right here where it's get a little bit harder, right? Not so much in advanced. This would be kind of hard in normal. Right? But the one in advanced doesn't be as hard. But I will make it a little complicated. Right? To head up direction vectors. Right, so we're looking at something called now direction. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not what you'll see. We'll see it. Well, I might be able to do the master who tap. Let me see how it goes. Right, so direction vectors. Right, so let me give you an idea. Sometimes in a question, here's what will happen. A question will give you one A. A question will give you one B. Right? But the problem now, Nishish, is that right? So the question might give you one A, like one I gave it before. You might have one A and you might have one B. But the problem is, how do we get A to B? Right? That's a big problem. How do we get A to B? Right? So what we use is something called direction vectors. And what it allows us to do, is to find an alternate path from A, from the first letter to the last letter along the triangle. It can work on any path, right? Like the old GC question, which I might give you, basically be like parallel around something, but it don't matter. This is the rule. Find an alternate path from A to B. We cannot go this way because we don't know any. Trying to find it. So we're using this triangle here, and we're going to find an alternate path. So you're starting at A, where you had to go. So, and then come back to B. See that? So that's the only way we could reach here. We had to go A to O, right? So we have to go A to O, and then O to B. So when I add these two again, okay with that? And that's the concept of direction vectors. From the diagram, you find your alternate path from where you start to where you want to finish. Okay, so make a note of this first. Make a note of this first. To find an unknown vector, to find an unknown vector, find an unknown vector, we must find an alternate path. To find an unknown vector, we must find an alternate path from the first letter to the second. We must find an alternate path from the first letter to the second. Following the triangle or shape given. Following the triangle or shape given. Let's give it up. Thank you, Jordan. Copy down that and then copy down the example and we'll do the first one together. Right? We'll do the first one together. Right? Draw this, and then when you reach here, let me know, right? We're gonna do this one together. You'll do the next two. Right, so Josh, into talking, right? Josh, I give you the easiest one. How do I find AB from that diagram? How do you get AB? A to O, and then O to B. So you're going A to O, and then add in O to B, right? So based on what I gave you there, what is A to O? -2, -1, and what will be? 1 minus. Very good. -2 plus 4, that's 2. -1 plus -3. Very good. To the next two. Anaya, online, you're okay with this? So I found AB using the same thing. I went from A to O back to B. So that's AO plus OB. I found AO and I found OB and I add them up, right? Nice. So everybody online, I want you to work out BC and AC. and the message you answer. Try that, please. I found it. Let me see if online send any answers. I get 4. Right, that's one. Next one, Anaya. Who am I missing again? Alyssa? Alyssa didn't get yours. I get you? I get you? Yeah? Who confused? She good? Right, well, okay, but since you don't answer that, right? So I gotta help you now. Are you finding B to C? What's the alternate path from B to C? Oh, you going all the way there? Well, it can work, yeah? It can work, yeah? B to A and an A to O and an O to C. Yeah, that can work if I have plot these things properly, that would have worked as well. You'd have gotten the same answer by making up this, so it might work. Right? But B to A to O to C, that could also work. Right? All you want is our alternate path. Okay? So if these things are plotted properly, it would have worked. In this case, it would. So what's the next option? Beta O. Next option is beta O and then O to C. Right? So beta O is what? Beta O is what? Minus 4, 3. Beta O is minus 4, 3. And O to C is what? Minus 7, 2. Right? Don't forget it's minus 4, 3. The signs have to change. Okay? So that'll be minus 4 plus minus 4 minus 7. That's minus 11. 3 plus 2 is 5. That's the Kahoot so hurry up. AC is what? AC, I forget the name. Aaron. AC is what? Right. A O and then OC. You all recognize, right? If you do it properly, it's gonna be same letter in here. Right? So A to O is what? Minus 2 minus 1 and O to C is minus 7, 2. So minus 2 plus minus 7 is minus 9. Minus 1 plus 2 is 1. That's the answer. Good job. Well done, Alyssa. All right. So nice. Let me show you a little Kahoot faster. I skip these scores earlier, so right? Scores I get here and why you talk to parents. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember, but I told you that we're supposed to be revising. We're talking about it together. Mr. Vishik, you have an exam to do for me. You have an exam to do for me. Unnecessary. I hope it was. This might be doing it, might be math soon, might be a little hardish. We'll try it quick. Log in quick. might be kind of hard, or it might be 4 5 stuff. I mean, physics, my maths, right? And kids are wrong. I'll tell you that's not. Nah, I know. With that maths, what I gonna do? Easy stuff. Make it quick. Understand that correct? That's all. Easy stuff. Let me see, Vandina, Vandina, we told you again. 2 or 4. So we get that wrong. 2 or 4. Telephone number, say it, sir. Telephone. 2 or 4. Somebody online get it wrong. Type in the value. Five and 12 and 1 go together. Hey, well, you have to know these values, 5 and 12 and 13. Pythagorean numbers. Look, what you know up there? Oh, you take long. Yeah, got me to the first station come on. Where am Shavian? What's going on? Shavi, we just do these things. All right, but they might get next one right. I can do this. Or they can do this. Some other trick in it. Dot front up, scale up front up. Yes, multiply 2 vectors. To get out wrong. Watch. It's 3 minus 4, right? X and Y. What's the X value to be? 0. 0. Right? So 0 by 3 and 0, so it's just minus 4 by 7. Very bad on it, very bad. We're gonna get more of this. Take one up. Josh, what take it? Much more is out.
Wait,
Oh, I like this one. Wait. This one didn't work out? Okay. Gotta figure it. Okay, that's the right one. On triple get 5. Right, so remember what we did for 1? You do it with 10. So the magnitude of 10. So we're going to get back to step 1 take over now. Alright, now let's do this, right? Just guess now. I guess. So technically, step 1 way now. Technically, step 1 way. Alright, now, but forget it. Somebody guess. Alright, so We'll finish it out next week. Yeah, that's it. But I can't do this yet. That's it. Alright, so you're supposed to keep your score because somebody guessed. Judge.
See, I already.
Alright, so technically this is not the podium, but not bad.
Sorry, what is it?
Huh?
See, it's in the blue bar, right? Just see how it goes.
Are you willing to Alright. So let's dig it and continue right now. Add on some more to it. Alright. That's it there online. Alright, that's it there.